Good morning, friends. So today we are continuing with looking at the fruit of the Spirit, and those are those gifts that God gives us that allow us to live lives in the way that is pleasing to Him and allow us to share His love with other people as we go about our daily life too. So there are 9 fruit of the Spirit, and they are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So we've already talked about love, and we've already talked about joy, which brings us this week to peace. Now, I don't know about you, but things have just felt really crazy to me these past few months. There seems to be a lot of stress everywhere. There's so many things to do. There's so many new rules and new routines to follow, even in places that are very familiar to us. And people just seem off a lot of times. Right now, with school starting, there's homework and there's classwork and there's Zoom calls, all the things that have to get done every day. The last thing I feel a lot of days is a sense of peace. Well, so if we're going to talk about peace, let's talk about what peace means exactly. Peace is quite simple. It means being calm, not mad, not sad, not stressed, not worried, just calm. You know, some days it's pretty easy to feel at peace, and other days, well, peace might be the last thing that you can think of that day. But when we have God in our hearts and when we rely on Him each day, we can feel peace no matter what the circumstance. So there are a few different ways I thought of that God can help give us peace. First is a peace to help us get along well with other people. You know, when you think about when your brother or sister is annoying you, maybe when your parents have asked you to do something and you don't want to do it, you just want to argue about it. Or maybe a friend has done something to frustrate you or to make you mad. Peace might be the last thing that's on your mind when you're feeling mad or frustrated. But with God's help, we can bring peace to hard situations with other people. When we rely on peace, we tend to bring calmness to a situation. It helps it feel less chaotic, less crazy, less tense. When we bring the gift of peace to a tough situation, it helps us to be more willing to listen, to give people a chance, and to think about how we want to react and respond rather than just reacting in anger. So peace can be an absolutely beautiful gift in the middle of conflict. And when one person brings peace to a tough situation, it can make a huge difference for everybody involved. Peace is also being content with what you have. You know, a lot of times in life, we are just surrounded by stuff, lots of stuff. It can be hard to not want to have all of the things or to do all of the things or to go to all the places that we see and hear about on TV or online or through our friends. But when we make room for God in our hearts and in our lives, He helps us to be at peace with what we have. Now, that doesn't mean that we never wish we had something that we really want. And it doesn't mean that we never dream about going and doing something amazing, but it does help us to recognize and to be grateful for all the many blessings and gifts that we do have in our lives. When we have peace in our hearts and when we can be content with what we do have, we're not always hoping for more instead of enjoying and appreciating what we have right in front of us. And finally, God's peace can help us to be content in a tough time or in tough situations. You know, when things aren't going the way that we wish they would, or when we're stuck in one place doing one thing and we really wish we were somewhere else doing something different, it can be hard to feel at peace. But with God's help and His gift of peace, we can learn to look for the good in hard situations. Sometimes that good may be found in seeing the people who we love, care about, and support us. Sometimes it can be remembering that even though times might be tough right now, there are much better days ahead that we get to look forward to. And we can always remember that God is with us, no matter what the situation. So for me, sometimes when it's hard to feel at peace, one thing that's helpful is to think about places I've been or things that I've seen that have made me feel that sense of peace, that sense of calmness in my life. It can help me focus my attention on being at peace instead of just being stuck thinking about what's hard or what's stressful. So what are some things you think of when you think of peace? I thought about that and came up with several. I think about being at the beach and listening to the sound of the waves crashing on the sand, especially at sunrise or sunset. That's a time when I feel very much at peace. I think of looking at the beautiful scenery around our city here where we live and seeing the mountaintops and mountain ranges and valleys that just seem to stretch on for days. There's a sense of peace in that setting for me. I think about the rivers and the creeks that just gurgle and babble over rocks as they wind their way through tree-filled forest, and the quiet and peacefulness that's in that environment. I think of listening to rain falling when I'm trying to go to sleep at night. And I especially think of being wrapped up in a really big warm hug from somebody I know truly loves and cares about me. Those are all wonderful ways that I feel at peace. And I'm so grateful that God gives me those situations that I can think about and remember when it's hard to feel at peace with whatever I'm dealing with in front of me. You know, it helps me remember that God is with me no matter what. So this week, I hope that you remember that even though life sometimes can be really hard and really stressful, God is always there. We can wrap our hearts and our minds around God and His love, and He helps us have peace in our hearts, even in the tough times. And that peace is something that can carry us through no matter what. So this week, I hope you have a great week. Know that I love you and I miss you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.